I'm excited to be sharing my review of Godzilla Kong, The New Empire. I have timestamps below so you can just skip ahead to the parts you want to get to, because I'm going to talk about a few other things before we dive deep into the review. First off, thanks again to all who have watched my Spectrum of Godzilla video. I have not been able to keep up with the response to that. It has been insane. It's brought so many new subscribers to this channel, so thank you if you're new here. I really appreciate you being here and watching my videos. It's been fun reading all your guys' comments and getting to know a lot more of you. It's just been so much fun, so thank you for watching that. And if you haven't watched it, it's a really good companion piece to Godzilla Kong, The New Empire. So funny story, 2 times I was invited to the premiere of GxK in Hollywood, one through a collaboration that ended up going in a different direction, no hard feelings there, another through a fan contest that gave out a bunch of tickets, and then turns out, before I got let in, the theater hit capacity and the company who gave out the tickets gave out too many. So I was turned away with a lot more people too. So it wasn't just me. There was a lot of standing and waiting for nothing. We stood in line for about 2.5 hours to get nothing, and that was really disappointing. It's not the end of the world. It was just a bummer that I sat in line for 2 hours. But I ended up having a really nice dinner with my lovely, beautiful girlfriend. Check out her channel, The Horror Babe Show. She's got a lot of fun interviews and discussions about horror movies, and we've talked about Godzilla on a few of her videos. But the next night, Tuesday, March 26th, I got to see a Q&A screening with Adam Wingard in Santa Monica at the Aero Theater, thanks to Beyond Fest and American Cinematheque. They put on the coolest and most fun Q&As. This one was no exception. I knew it was going to be a really good night because when I got in line, someone walked up and handed me this guy. I got a new Playmates giant Godzilla Evolved. It's cool because I was hoping to get one of these soon, and here we are. I'm excited about it. They even had a costume contest. There was a lot of great costumes. The hosts were trying to figure out how to gauge who the winner would be, so I decided to give them a little advice.
Okay, let them fight!
I think the crowd really loved that. Overall, it was a really fun night, but I will tell you, I am not swayed by free events and free things and this and that. I have worked way too many events in my life to know how they go. I can see right through them. I was there to watch the movie. I didn't care how else it went, especially the night before from waiting in line for 2.5 hours. I even waited in line for about 2 hours the night I saw the movie. The crowd had such a great energy. It felt like a sporting event. And when it comes to Godzilla and Kong, you can tell there are teams, even though we're all on the same team, and everybody's just rooting and hooting and hollering for this movie, and it was a blast watching it in theaters with this crowd. And the Q&A with Adam Wingard was really insightful and fun to listen to. He's really excited about this movie, and you could tell. If you'd like to check out that Q&A, I uploaded it on my channel. It is the video right before this one. I'll link it below if you want to check it out. It is recorded on an iPhone, so the audio might not be perfect, same with the picture quality, so apologies on that. Okay, let's get into the reason why we're all here, how I felt about Godzilla Kong, The New Empire. I'm going to be giving my light thoughts here. I'm not going to go into detail on things. I'm going to save all the detailed stuff for my spoiler video, which is coming very soon after this one. So keep your eye out for that. And I'm also not going to be talking about anything that was in that recent Chinese trailer. That showed way too much in my opinion. There was a lot of surprises that I wish would have been kept for the movie. All that will come in my next video. After I saw the movie, I shared some thoughts on social media. Godzilla Kong is a psychedelic, epic monster mash of a movie. The lifelong Godzilla fan in me was grinning ear to ear for most of the movie. It is so much fun, and I can't wait to watch it again. Long live the MonsterVerse. And that's very much how I felt. I really enjoyed the movie. It is a much more focused movie than Godzilla vs. Kong, I would say. It felt like the plot was way more centralized, and while it did bounce back and forth between Godzilla and Kong, it didn't feel as scattered between the Millie Bobby Brown plot, the Godzilla plot, the Gia plot, the Kong, and this one just felt more streamlined and right to the point. They just had a lot more of a clearer vision here. I absolutely loved the focus on the monsters, and so many people have been asking for that. Each movie we want more and more focus on those monsters, and you can really read what's going on in their feelings and their emotions. Kong, especially with those eyes and those facial expressions, and Tsuko now too. He's a very emotive little guy. Godzilla is just a jerk again. Adam Wingard really likes to make him just so ticked off and mad in these movies, and I really enjoy this Godzilla. He's just there to take everybody out and do what he wants, and he doesn't care how much of a mess he's making in the way. And he's a big kitty cat too. I love it. He's just a big baby. Kong and Tsuko have a really great emotional connection that builds throughout the movie. I wasn't sure how I felt about Zuko through the marketing materials and from the toys and things, but seeing him in the movie and seeing what they were going for, I really liked it. And Zuko is a little jerk too. He's got a little nasty streak. You can really feel Kong's emotions while he's exploring this new part of the Hollow Earth that is undiscovered at the time. And especially when he's interacting with new monsters or more of his own kind. And then Godzilla is just a jerk and he's just mad at everybody. But then you see how his mood changes when he interacts with things and sees how the situation's going. They do a really great job with these monsters as characters. Like I said in my Spectrum of Godzilla video, we're also there to see Godzilla and Kong more than anything. And they really deliver that in this movie. They go all in on monsters in this one. But even with the human cast, I did enjoy them a lot. Dan Stevens steals the show. As you've probably heard in other people's reviews, he is having such a good time. I don't even know if he's acting. It's just kind of his personality. He just kind of feels like he's there and knows exactly what kind of movie he's in. And he's eating the camera up and everything. I loved it. He was one of the best human characters we've had in the MonsterVerse. The Trapper character is just really fun. And if we got more of these MonsterVerse movies coming, I'd like to see him come back. Gia, played by Kaylee Hoddle, again, she is the heart and soul of the movie next to Kong. She is our connection to the monsters in a way, but even then the monsters have a lot more solo screen time away from the humans, and we can connect with them still. Gia's plot line is really expanded upon. It's pretty cool how they tied a lot of these things together, I would say. It made it feel a lot more like a classic Showa movie, and I really dug that. I like the direction where they took her character. And her being a deaf actress, she does such a great job, and the performance is so emotional, and I hope we continue to see her taking on larger roles in Hollywood as she gets older. Rebecca Hall and Brian Tyree Henry were fine. I enjoyed them. I will say I'm glad that Madison Russell is not back. That's, I think, why this felt more focused. We didn't have too many characters. It was a lot easier to connect with them because we were with them more often. The relationship between Rebecca Hall's character, Dr. Andrews, and Gia, there is a very good emotional arc there, which mirrors what Zuko and Kong are going through. There's a lot of themes in this movie, and it's trying to say a lot, I would say, even though probably people will say it's just a dumb monster movie. Whatever. The action in this movie is insane. We got really great action in Godzilla vs. Kong, but this one steps it up to another level at times, especially with what we've kind of seen teased in the trailers with the zero gravity sequences. They go wild with that, and I was so sucked into that scene. Seeing everybody flying around is pretty nuts, and they do some really creative stuff with the zero gravity, and the fights in general are really fun and energetic, just off the wall. It's just, the movie's, I wouldn't say visceral, but it hooks you, and when the action starts going, it really hits. I would say a lot of people die in this movie. We see probably a lot of mass casualties, and the movie kind of just brushes over it because we're very much in the monster's perspective in this movie, but they definitely just wreck shop in some cities, and there is some serious just like mass destruction. And by the end of it, the guy next to me goes, a lot of people died. And I was like, guess they did. You can't really process all the potential casualties because there's giant apes taking a whip and wrapping it around a building and just hucking the building, and Kong is punching it. Man, I couldn't imagine having this kind of movie as a young Godzilla fan in the 80s and 90s. This is just a fanboy's wet dream a little bit, and I was eating it up all the way through. I could go for more of these kind of movies where we're just watching the lives of Godzilla and Kong doing what they want to do. There was a lot of references to other MonsterVerse movies, and even, I would say, potentially other just like Godzilla movies from the franchise. It's one of those movies you might have to pause and watch like frame by frame to catch a lot of the details. There's also a lot of references to just like movies and shows and music, I think, that Adam liked growing up, and you can see it. You can see a lot of his love and inspirations in this movie. And speaking of like pausing and watching all that kind of stuff, there's one specific scene that I am going to need to do that at, and I'll clarify why in the next video. I'll tell you exactly what's going on there. It's very exciting. The VFX were pretty incredible. I know a lot of people are online complaining about the CGI not being perfect and the trailers and everything like that. But for me, not once in this movie was I going, oh, that didn't look real, or that took me out. I was along for the ride. But if the reports are true, the budget's quite low for what we've expected for this franchise. And if that's true, the VFX look incredible for what they did. Now I'm going to give a couple of critiques here. The first big one for me is that GxK's score just doesn't work for these movies. He doesn't feel like he gets it to me. The music just feels generic, pulled from a box. Not sure if I'll explain this right, but with the King of the Monsters score, that is part of why that movie is so extra special to me. It is a movie that's music helps paint a picture on what's going on screen. I can hear the Mothra theme and see the waterfall. I can hear the Rodan theme and see him flying out of the clouds. With this movie, I don't feel that with the music. There was a few moments in the movie where I was like, cool synthy sounds, I like those. But after the movie was over, I couldn't remember anything of the music. Before recording this video right now, I went on about an hour walk and listened to the soundtrack. Nothing stood out to me. I recognized the themes from the previous movie that were a little bit more remixed or built upon, and those are fine, but they didn't really grab me last time, so of course I recognize them, but they don't make me feel what I feel when I heard Bear McCreary's music in Godzilla King of the Monsters. And I'm not saying we need Bear McCreary or exactly the Godzilla classic theme songs. Like I mentioned, I really love the Rodan theme from King of the Monsters, and that's an original piece right there. I've just felt that the original music that GxK has put out for this just feels so cookie cutter and basic, and I don't like to use those kind of words, but I just feel like it could punch a lot harder, and I don't believe GxK is doing that for me. Twice in a row, I felt this exact same feeling walking out of the movie. It was just, the music just didn't do it for me. And if I had really any one heavy critique on both either Godzilla vs. Kong or Godzilla Kong, it's GxK's score. And I know I'm not alone in those thoughts. I know people have been a lot more harsh with their words, but for me, it's just, the music just isn't memorable, and that's just a bummer. I really feel like Godzilla movies and the King Kong movies all have such classic music that I could just hum in my head when I'm walking down the street, and it sticks with me because that music is so iconic and impactful. I'm not going to go into it too much, but from some of GxK's previous interviews about how he's spoken about the franchise, I just don't think he gets it or wants to be a part of it, and it feels that way through his music. The stakes didn't feel as high for me. I really enjoyed Scar King and Shimo to partner with, but just never felt as threatened as I did with maybe like a Ghidorah or even Mechagodzilla when he got loose, or even the Mutos. They definitely had their motives, but I just never felt fear of them. I would maybe have felt that if I had more time with them. I mean, I said earlier we got a lot of time with the monsters, but maybe just a little bit more time with the villains, so we could have taken them in a little bit more. They could have just used a scene or two more of Scar King being a jerk or Shimo dealing with what she's dealing with. It would have maybe made me feel more for either of them when things happen for them. I might be in the minority on this thought, but I think it may have moved a little too fast-paced for me. We got right to the point and started going for it, but I just feel like these movies don't have the room to breathe a little bit like King of the Monsters and 2014 had. And that's not the tone or anything like that. Before things started, they were over. And I wish we had just a little bit longer. And maybe that's just because I was having such a good time and I was just taking it all in, but everything felt like it was over before it got started sometimes. And I could have used just a little bit more time with Scar King and Shimo. It just felt like it took a long while to get to them, and then once we got to them, they were taken care of and defeated before we really got to understand and care for them or fear them. And maybe I'm biased, but it clearly was a Kong-leaning film, and he's easier to lean on because he's such a relatable character. But I just felt like there wasn't a lot of Godzilla. And when there was, it was, again, kind of like Scar King and Shimo. It was over before it got going. Yes, there was a lot of moments with him and Kong, but his solo moments just felt like they were just done. Maybe I want just another solo Godzilla outing or something. It just feels like the recent entries with him have just not given him time to shine and breathe. Even though he's there and does cool stuff, I just felt like he was a side character, even though his name is first in the title card. Overall, though, I really, really enjoyed it. It was a blast. Where do we go from here, though? We have potentially a Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2 coming. I really hope. I loved that show. It wasn't perfect, but I really enjoyed what they were going for with it. Is there another movie that they want to do? Adam Wingard has been hinting at a third entry that he would like to do. Would you like to see Adam Wingard come back, or would you like somebody else to take the reins? I personally could go either way. I like what Wingard's been doing, but I could be open to a new direction as well. It was a wild ride of a movie. I didn't see it in IMAX, even though I was supposed to because I was invited to the premiere and it was at IMAX, but it didn't work out. But I can only imagine that this movie is insane in IMAX. The way they shot it, the way the camera moves and stuff, and the sound, the roars and everything, you'd probably feel it in your chest at times. And that's such a fun feeling, hearing a Godzilla roar and you just could feel it. It is a very Showa energy movie. It's so much fun. There's gonna be the inevitable comparing to Godzilla -1, especially now that it won the Oscar. But this movie isn't trying to be -1. And -1 isn't trying to be GxK. Yes, they both have Godzilla in them and they're both Godzilla movies, but they're not the same kind of movies. They don't need to be held to the same standard, in my opinion. They just need to be entertaining and good at what they do. And I was very entertained by Godzilla X Kong, and I can't wait to watch it again and again.
It's campy, it's silly, but it's also got a lot of heart and great action, and also just a really fun, great time with giant monsters. I'll take that any day over a lot of other movies. It's far from a perfect film, but like I said earlier, I couldn't imagine having something this wild, crazy, and fun when I was a child. This is a dream come true kind of movie.
So thank you for watching. To celebrate the release of Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, and also now that I've hit 1,500 subscribers, and just the last video I was saying thanks to the 1,000 subscribers, it's moving so fast. I'm going to be doing a celebratory live stream where we talk about Godzilla Kong and just hang out a little bit this coming Saturday. I'll be scheduling that live stream very soon, so check your subscriptions if you want to keep up to date with that. And just thank you so much to all who have subscribed and just come here recently. It's been great having you here. Thank you so much. If you would like to help out this channel more, you can check out my affiliate links below. I have them for Super 7 and Entertainment Earth. Any purchases through them help me a lot. And with Entertainment Earth, you save money if you order through those links. It is no extra cost to you on any of that stuff, and you really help the channel out a lot when you purchase from those links. Be sure to check out my social medias to keep up to date with all of my toy photography, behind the scenes of that kind of stuff, a lot of monster stuff that I post here and there, especially if I'm going to these screenings or meeting people who've worked on these movies. So check me out on all my social medias. They're linked below. And thank you so much for watching Mike's Monsters. I really appreciate having you here, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Go see Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. You will not regret it.